Okay, so just to remind you, when we finished up last session, you had explored the basement beneath Knut's house, the house that you had inherited upon his death, and discovered that there was a demon tied into the body of Eric Asbjornson, who was bound in one of the rooms in the cellar, or in the complex under the cellar. During your investigations, you discovered some pages from Knut's research into this demon, which you should all have access to, as these 3 pages. And once you had taken the opportunity to review the information in these pages, you decided that you were going to investigate Wulfheim. And that was where we left it, with you considering an expedition to the ruins of Wulfheim. So I guess the first question is, what would you like to do in order to prepare for this?
I listened to the end of the last session, and you were saying that Wulfheim was like a city of thieves and like a kind of a city of ill repute, and there was a saying about, like, if you relax too much or be too hedonistic, you'll end up like the fate of Wulfheim. So is it well known that it is a complete ruin, or there are people still living in the ruins? I mean, is there much known about it?
You can make me some sort of history check if you would like. So anybody who has any region law, you can make me a very hard region law or a medium history law if you have history. So Gunnar, you remember hearing tales of Wulfheim. It wasn't always known as Wulfheim. Your memory fails you, and you can't recall what the city was called before then. But there is a connotation around wolves in the Southlands. Wolves tend to be associated with the god Vasta, who is the great devourer who will ultimately destroy the world. So there's a fairly negative association with wolves. The city itself used to be a fairly successful trading hub and was renowned for being a centre of learning. Something happened, and nobody is entirely sure, but over the course of sort of several generations, it began to become more corrupt and to earn the reputation that it has. To the best of anyone's knowledge, it is now completely abandoned, and few people have any need to go out to where the ruins are. So few people go out exploring that area.
How far away is it?
So if you have a quick look at the map, it's roughly a day's travel between each of those villages, approximately spread out in that sort of distance. So you're looking at 2.5 days to get to the edge of the Sidewald, and then depending on how rapidly you progress through the forest, another day, perhaps day and a half to get to the outskirts of the ruins.
So the nearest village is Jagershead.
Yeah, or Svardset, which is arguably about the same distance, possibly marginally closer.
And the forest, is it quite a wild forest? Is it like like an ancient forest? Is it a new forest?
It's an old, well-established forest. It's like most of the forested regions in this part of the world. It's not dangerous to traverse through, but it does have hazards that live within it, and travellers do need to be wary when they're going through those lands.
Now, what sort of kind of woodland is it? Is it like a kind of Scandinavian type, pine type forest, or is it like a more of a deciduous kind of one?
It's boreal, so it's that large sort of spruce pine type forest, quite open.
Okay.
So about 3 days there, 3 days back, and however long it takes us in the ruins, and we need supplies for that long.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
If I don't know if any of our characters have done this, but would we know it's travelable by a cart through the forest?
You haven't been there, so it's not something that you necessarily would know. You could ask around in town to see if anybody has been there. There's a fairly good chance that it would be difficult, that you're going through a fairly heavily forested area, and there's not a lot of traffic that goes through to the ruins, so it's unlikely that there will be any sort of roads established.
We're walking it.
So when it became a ruin, I mean, we're talking hundreds of years. So, like, if there had been any road, then that's long since gone.
Yeah, it's in that sort of 100, 150 years, long enough for, as you said, any sort of infrastructure to have long since passed.
Okay. So yeah, the cart's out.
Were you thinking for us to ride in, or just to carry stuff back in?
I guess we take a boat down that river down to the village seems near my company. It's farthest.
Do we have the money for buying a horse?
I don't know, how much money do you have left?
14 silver. Oh.
I think you find
20.
that the horses are reasonably pricey.
Are we talking gold or silver?
I think you're talking silver, but reasonably large amounts of silver.
Yeah, so the cart, I thought, just because it'd be easy to just put a load of supplies on. You never know if you get bags of coins. I'm always there of an optimist. It's easier to put them on a cart than it is on our backs. But there may be a horse. Want to go and buy a horse or pony?
Couple mules, maybe.
So riding horse is going to set you back about 70 silver. You could probably pick up a couple of mules for maybe 30 silver for the pair.
I don't mind chipping in for that.
Yeah, whether or not there are any in town, it's a fairly small fishing town, so you may be lucky.
I think if we only have silver, according to the transportation prices, we only can afford a donkey or a mule if we are, throw our money together.
You know, if you are fortunate, you can pick up a couple of mules for about 30 silver.
Remember these days, boys, whenever we all had to chip in to buy 2 mules.
Yeah, eventually you're going to be wealthy landowners. So,
And how much is about 2 weeks worth of food going to cost us?
So if you want food for a week as trail rations, it's going to cost you a bronze piece per week.
Negligible.
Yeah,
Per person?
that's per person. Per person per week.
If I summon a horse or a mule, and it come to me and we keep it, it is counting as thievery.
If it's somebody else's mule, then yes, it would be. If you're summoning a mule from the wild, then no. But there's not that many mules in these lands, unfortunately. It's a little bit the wrong climate for them.
Do you need them? I mean, if you got one, you just carry the baggage. Can't we carry it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm carrying as it is 44 pounds. But most of that's in a backpack, which I can drop.
Yeah, that was my plan too.
So, if you want to investigate boat transportation, there are a large number of boats that travel up and down the river, and you can book passage for silver piece each.
Maybe we should just mortgage the estate and retire.
We just got it.
Does that actually happen? Are there like a financial system that allows that?
There are money lenders that you could put up your estate for collateral. We won't discuss the rates of interest that they typically charge.
So should we forgo the mules then? I mean, I don't mind. So one of them's going to be 15, you say then, Chris?
Yes, yeah, you can get a mule for 15.
And what kind of resale rates can you typically expect?
Well, that's a lot cheaper than you would pay elsewhere. So there's a good chance that unless you travel to a larger city somewhere, that you'll be getting a little bit less, but not a lot less, because there's not a lot further down it can go.
Yeah, if we get one mule, we can pack it up with the food and some tents and all sorts of stuff.
Right, so you're going to buy a mule.
I don't mind chipping in for a mule if we can get it for 15 silver.
I'll chip in too.
Right, after some negotiation, you find that there is a mule team in town, while the caravan owner is reluctant to part with them. Yeah, after some time, you manage to convince him that he's not going to miss one mule. So you're able to procure a mule and any food items that you wish to pick up.
We also get a transportation saddle and sacks and saddlebags, but we can load it on the mule.
You can get the saddle and all that. You'll need to pay for the saddlebags.
Can I try and charm him?
You certainly can if you like.
This isn't going to end well.
He's flattered by your attempt, but it becomes fairly quickly obvious that he is a merchant of some experience, and that he sees through your attempts to charm him, and it's obvious that you're not going to get any further with it than you already have.
So how much is it for a mule with saddlebags? Do we need a saddle with it though?
I think we just need the bags.
Yeah, I mean you don't need the saddle.
Saddlebag is 0.8 silver. So
Yeah.
is that.
So how much is that?
Saddlebag is 8 bronze pieces. Now, while you're walking through the market, procuring foodstuffs and various accoutrements for your expedition, you're approached by a somewhat wizened old man who has overheard your negotiations. He introduces himself and asks if you have any interest in maps or books of knowledge or any of that kind of thing. Where are you heading to? So, are you interested, or are you just going to ignore this gentleman?
I'm just wondering his motivation. I mean,
Well, you're obviously traveling somewhere. You're procuring goods, and he's seen that you're getting equipment for a long journey, so he wants to know if you need any maps to find where you're going.
what we do on a map then.
So he's just walked up. So it's an old man, did you say? How's
Yeah,
he
no.
dressed?
No,
Does he look wealthy?
No, not really. He looks like somebody who's obviously attempted to be a merchant, but's never quite made it. Somebody who is more scholarly than wealthy. He's wearing reasonably well-maintained clothing, but you can see it has patches in places, and it's been repaired rather than replaced.
Why would you like to know, stranger?
I heard that you were planning a trip, and well, I have maps, and I don't get much opportunity to sell them. They are not in high demand around here. I thought maybe if you were planning to be traveling 2 or 3 weeks, perhaps you may need guidance.
What kind of maps do you have?
I have maps of many places. I have well-written, well-annotated maps that lead from here to Iskingir, if you are heading that way, or maps that go down to Gunners. Where are you heading?
Through the forest of the Svarfold. Do you have any of that region?
I do not know. I will need to go and look at my wares. My wife, my wife Brunhilde. She manages all the maps. She's the knowledgeable one.
You should go talk to her then.
So you are interested then?
Potentially.
Well, please, come with me. Let me take you to my house, so that you can see the fine collection of maps that Haki offers. He starts trying to lead you away from whatever purchase you're currently trying to make.
Sure.
Takes you to a small house that's set slightly off back from the marketplace.
I will be, how to say, suspicious.
Okay, you can make a social awareness check if you wish.
Have we bought the mule at this point?
Not yet, no.
Okay, cool. I'm going to keep an eye on him as well.
Okay, so Fabius, you get the sense that he's pretty much as he seems. He just seems to be a failed merchant who is desperate to sell items that are not in particular demand, and he has seen an opportunity, one of the very few opportunities that he has in a small town like this. You're not sure. You think there's something decidedly wrong with this guy. Kieran, you don't get any sense either way.
Okay, well, as they walk, Flavius is going to try and keep the charm offensive going, asking about it and admiring his clothes and asking to hear about his wife and just trying to butter him up as best he can before we start talking about prices.
Okay, he's lapping it up. It's obvious that he is somebody who really doesn't get much of an opportunity to actually potentially have a customer. And the fact that you are flattering him and talking about his clothing and everything is just, he's absolutely engaged and over the moon about this. So it takes you, it's just off not far back off Market Street, and he leads you into a small home of somebody of sort of moderate means. Please, come into Haki's house, and I shall go and get Brunhilde, and she can talk to you about maps. Please, come.
Takes a seat.
Okay, is everybody going to go through, or is it just ladies?
If we have time, I would like to cast guess. If my gods say I shall follow my friends or stay outside.
Okay, you can make a spellcasting check.
I will go through too.
Can I get you a beverage, cup of something?
Well, I wouldn't like to put you out, Haki, but if you've got something, yes, please.
What would you like? I have teas from far off Aden Isles, or if you're after something a little stronger, there's some meat that we put in. It should be just about ready.
Well, tea, please, Haki, if that's not too much trouble.
With milk and sugar.
Yes, please.
Alright, so you commune with Van. You seek guidance, and you guess that there's a neutral outcome. That it really makes little difference whether you join your friends or not.
In which case, I will follow them. But I can stay at their side.
So, Haki disappears. He comes back shortly afterwards with drinks for those who want drinks. And he's followed by a similarly elderly, somewhat stooped old woman who sits down somewhat gingerly, obviously in a bit of pain. So, Haki here was telling me that you want maps of some forest. Can you tell me more, please?
Not really. We'd just like to see the maps, please.
Well, I have many maps, but if you are sure, I can. And she'll go and start pulling out scroll cases which have rolls and scrolls cases of rolls of maps that unfold. And most of the common trade routes are there. So, as Haki said, there are maps that lead up and lead to Iskandjir. There are also maps that head north all the way up to Skull's Peak. In terms of forests, she has some overview maps that locate where various forests are. This is what I have. I've normally been mapping the trade paths. We have maps that show the various forests, but is this what you see? Is this what you're looking for?
Sorry, I'm waiting for his wife, not his daughter.
Don't be silly. Don't be silly, sir.
Oh, you're Brunhilde. Wow, I say, Haki. Whoa, you must have been a looker in your youth. To get a young beauty like this. Yes, well, I'm interested in many maps, many places, and we're traveling through the forest, but I've always had an interest in ruined cities, and there's a few ruined cities. One is the ruins of the fort to the southwest. I can't even pronounce it, and other places. I think there isn't even one quite close in the forest. I mean, have you got anything like that?
Are you talking about Wulfheim?
Wulfheim. I couldn't remember the name of it. That's right. I mean, that is in that forest, isn't it?
Well, actually, it's fascinating tale. in my younger days, I was quite interested in the study of history, and I was able to, in travels up to Scald's Peak, I came across a fine book where they had maps of the old city that was. And I shouldn't have, but I made a copy of it.
Oh, you cheeky young lady there. Oh, can we have a look at it?
Well, let me see if I can find it. Please. Hacky, have you make sure our guests are well fed, and I'll be back soon. And she starts wandering off. Hacky sort of sits there and so, you interested in making any purchases?
Well, I mean, we're not rich, but you know, I think somehow there should be some coins given to you for the map, even if it's just for the lend of it. I mean, how much?
Well, I don't know. This is the first I've heard of this. It might be something that she's not really willing to part with. Her time up in Scald's Peak was many years ago, and you know, she almost became a Scald. Decided that at the last minute that she wasn't. Well, she didn't want the job of judging those who maybe had some petty land dispute, and unfortunately it's one of the tasks Scolds have to deal with.
Well, I understand. I mean, maybe a short-term loan of the map. Just if we do run into that place, it'd be nice to maybe to see how accurate the map is, and we could then give her a separate maybe manuscript with some notes to say how accurate the map was, and maybe she could make another copy, a more accurate one, and be known and renowned for the most accurate map of the ruins of Wulfheim. I mean, only if we're going that way. I mean, otherwise, you know, we would return it unharmed. And I can't help but know that she has a little bit of discomfort. I mean, maybe if we came some rare herbs in the forest, we could maybe bring them back for you. I mean, what do you think, Haki?
Well, that would be very kind. I'm not sure that there's much that can be done. I think that it's just a cruel age. Unfortunately, we all start to feel a little creaky. But I mean, you know, I shall ask. So after
You can only but ask. Thank you, Haki.
After about 15 to 20 minutes, you hear a sort of satisfied, I hear it is coming from a back room. And then you see Brunhild returns. She's got a leather-bound
User
journal.
disconnected from your channel.
She says, here, it's in here. Opens it up to a page. This is what I found. So you can see here. This is the old city of Svadfjord. That's what Wulfheim used to be known as before it. Well, you know what happened there. So you can see there are the various regions of the city, the lands with the houses of the craftsmen, the Ulfberg, the castle itself. Fascinating place. Terrible what happened to that fine city.
Well, that's a fine map. So, would you take a small amount of coin as a deposit for the lend of this map? And we could maybe follow it for you?
Well, I could make you a copy.
A copy? Oh, that's very kind of you.
Have you time? Will take me about 20 minutes.
Make a copy of that nice map. That's fast.
Well, I don't sell many maps, but I'm reasonably good at it.
Well, 20 minutes in your fine company? I think that's a small price to pay.
I should get
I'll roll
onto it.
my eyes again.
I should get onto it right away. You see, she grabs parchment and scrapes it off, and then takes a quill and an inkstone, and with obvious practiced hands, very quickly copies out the map. Yeah. Will this do?
Will this do? I've never seen fine craftsmen, and all in that amount of time. Brunhilde, I mean, this is amazing. Haki, you're a lucky man. So, we should just take this map?
Well, he interjects. We would need some recompense for it. Brunhilde says, "Oh, don't be silly. It's just parchment."
Oh, for crying out loud, just tell us how much you want for it.
Well,
Okay,
work
don't be so hasty, Kieran.
of this quality, that's silver piece seems reasonable. When he says silver piece, you see Brunhilde's eyes go wide and she looks sort of scandalized.
I mean, how well off do they look?
They look. They're not well off. They're not starving, but they're not well off.
Can I try a charm roll to see if I can just drop the price down slightly?
If you wish,
Trading, isn't it? Actually.
it's trading.
Or is it trading? I haven't got trading.
You can make a charm check. I suppose. What do you think is a fair price for it?
Looks over to Kieran and Gunnar. And sort of,
Shrug, because you're doing the bargaining here.
well, I'll say, let's split the difference. Your lovely wife here wants to give it to us for free. You want a silver. How about 5 bronzes? And if we find some herb to alleviate any kind of the pains, we'll drop that in as well when we come back. How about that?
5 pounds for that barely covers the cost of the parch. How about 8? 8 seems reasonable.
This would be fine for me.
Well, Haki, I don't want to haggle over price. I think 8 is a fair price for such a fine map. And also, you know, we may come back and hopefully you could give us a discount on any of these other maps if we ever decide to go and follow the other regions.
Of course. By all means. Thank you. Please. Thank you. Here, take this and to know that Haki makes the finest maps in Ormshine.
Flavius, when he says that, looks over at Brunhilde and gives her a wink, sort of trying to gesture that he knows it's Brunhilde who makes the maps.
She smiles. No, I really shouldn't keep you any longer. I've kept you long enough already. Please. It's a pleasure doing business with you.
Indeed, it was a pleasure to meet you. We've got some more business to attend to. I bid you good day.
Good day to you. Thank you. Right,
Okay.
with that, he sort of guides you out.
You really like to lay it on thick, don't you, Flavius?
I was trying to get it for free. I actually failed there, you know. But yeah, I was trying.
Yeah, we noticed.
So, you managed to acquire the remainder of the supplies that you're after. And then, if you wish, you can approach some of the ship captains to see if you can get passage. Alternatively, you can walk.
Take a ship. I like ships.
I would like to buy some bottles or containers for holy water.
Okay, you can pick up flasks and water skins without too much difficulty. Anything like glass, you're going to need to go to a bigger city to find.
No, it's fine.
So if you just want to pick up water skin, find those easily. They're a copper piece.
Okay, I will buy. Five water skin for holy water.
Okay. That's 5 copper for that. Right, now having gathered together your equipment, you managed to find a ship's captain who's heading down Diego's Holt. He's more than happy to take you and your mule. It'll be a silver piece per head and an additional silver for the mule.
12 bronze each.
Yeah.
And
Pardon?
money for mule.
How
12
many?
bronze. 12 bronze. So 10 bronze for us and quarter share in the fifth share in the mule.
That's right.
So there goes all that silver we found in that house.
Yeah. Easy come, easy go. We'll be rich hotels, yeah, by the time of this finishes. We'll be millionaires.
I'll settle for just not starving.
Hacky can always put us up.
Okay, so the ship's going to depart early the next morning, and he estimates that it's a good day's travel, but he should get you into Jaeger's Holt towards evening of that day. So you've got the rest of the day. Do you want to do anything else while you're wandering around the market?
So when are we due to leave, did you say? Sorry, Chris?
Early in the morning the following day.
Well, I'm going to attempt to get drunk, find a lady, and retire for the evening.
Okay. What sort of stuff are you looking to drink? Cheap and cheap?
It's weak stuff, so you can carry on drinking all night, not get too wrecked, but have a good time. And try and charm some local lady with some wild stories, which would remain mainly untrue.
I'm going to be boring and read that Malefactum book we picked up.
Fair enough. So that book contains lots of quite unpleasant information. The beer you managed to find is reasonable. It's nothing special. You find a tavern down by the waterfront, somewhere that the sailors and fishermen frequent. Seems to have the most life and the best chance of finding a young lady.
Sold? Or maybe sold if he gets unlucky by the end of the night.
Yeah, so you don't want to get too badly wrecked, as you said. So you can spend me, what do I say? I'll say 2 copper pieces on beer. And if you want to join your young lady, then chuck in another couple of copper pieces as well.
Okay, spent.
So you spend the evening.
Yeah, that's what you said there.
You pray to Van, and you get the sense that you are doing the right thing. It's looking down on you. This is an heroic action to be taken. So there's a sense of approval. And following morning, bright and early, you manage to crawl your way out of bed find yourself down on the docks. You board the ship and travel downriver.
Yay!
Other than a few merchant vessels that are travelling back and forth, the trip down to Jaeger's Holt is quiet. Gives you the opportunity to, should you wish, reflect, to meditate, to read. The river is still, so you spend a day doing very little, and then you find yourself in the village of Jaeger's Holt. It's an unremarkable village, but as you approach it, you can see the Svardwald forest behind it, and it's imposing. There's a certain sense of age and primordial sense that emanates from it. The city of Jaeger's Holt seems almost out of place, settled, nestled as it is near this great forest. So, arriving at Jaeger's Holt, what would you like to do? Bear in mind, it's coming on to quite late in the evening now.
I'll try and secure a room. Does anybody else want me to secure a room for them?
Yeah, that's a good idea. We should probably try and get what the local news is too.
Right, there's not an inn in town per se, but after asking around, you find that there is one of the farmhouses just on the outside of the village. Often will house merchants, and they just have one of their rooms that they set aside. So it's prepared to offer it to you and to your travelling companions.
Sure, we'll take it. How much is it?
That would be 2 copper pieces
Each or all in?
for the room. There's one room, and you can sort out how to sleep in there. There are 2 beds, but other than that, it's sleeping on the floor.
Flavius will pay for the room if he can have a bed.
Go for it.
Okay, paid.
And you wanted to ask about local news?
I do. You can ask the farmer, can't you?
Yeah,
What the local
yeah.
gossip is.
And I would like to speak to the farmer if there's something dangerous in the wood. Right, because he's lived so near to the wood, if he knows, or to the forest. So does he knows any dangers?
Well, it's funny you should mention forest, because I've seen some unusual tracks out around my barn recently, and I've lost some livestock. I don't know. I suspect it's something's coming out from the forest and has taken. You also, through asking around here, news that there's a number of merchants that have been attacked recently. There's a variety of bandits or something similar around here that are stealing goods from travellers. And last, but by no means least, you hear that the local mill has been burned, and indeed, when you look in the following day, you can see that the mill has been burned. There's a suspicion that it wasn't an accident, that perhaps arson is involved.
Who is awesome?
Oh, I was thinking that.
Arson is where someone deliberately sets a fire.
So, I mean, you look like you're looking at Leaf in particular, sturdy folk. If you're up to dealing with any of us, well, we'd be very grateful.
How grateful.
Well, we're a farming town, as you can see. We scrape by and make ends meet. So we'd be very grateful. We could reimburse you for your night's rest.
And a mule?
You have a mule.
Yeah, but it's lonely.
Wants to start having, breeding program.
Flavius has to stifle a laugh.
You're not familiar with livestock, are you?
No, not unless it comes to sale and, a rudder.
Well,
Yep, food goes in that end, food comes out that end.
let's just say mules aren't that interested in that sort of thing. So, yes, if you are able to help, we appreciate any assistance you can give. But I understand you might be travelling on, and you only want the room for the night, I take it.
One say we shall help the helpless.
Oh, well, it's fine. But when Gunnar speaks about Barn, he just it's fun. We should listen to the teachings of Barn.
You're right, you should listen to the teachings of Varn.
I try to live my life according to my station. So, here is the room. Please make yourself comfortable.
Was anyone hurt when the mill burnt down?
No. Nobody was in the mill at the time, and everybody. Well, it was a fairly impressive fire, as these things often are, but we were able to contain it to the mill.
Do we have a
Wait.
tracker?
Sorry, you first.
I said, do we have a tracker?
I got some skill in tracking, not a high skill in tracking, but some skill.
First level. None of us have skills in tracking in anything.
That's a
I
very
suck.
good point.
Ella has some ability to track.
Because he mentioned that there were some tracks for the livestock. I'm just wondering if it's any more sign of possessed people running around these bandits.
Well, I mean, Ella's very happy to go and look if you want to as a group. Or
Yes,
perhaps,
please, count me in.
Perhaps assist Flavius.
Yes.
So, together, Flavius, you want to make the main roll and see whether she can contribute to?
Okay, here's nothing. Here goes nothing. Oh,
Okay. Together, between the two of you, you thoroughly search the area outside the barn. All you find are footprints, probably from the farmer, maybe some of the farm hands. You can see how some of them have been a little bit distorted. The ground is perhaps a little softer than it normally is, and the footprint looks a little misshapen and distorted, but it's quite obviously still a human footprint.
okay, I'll try and cast around for any more.
That's all you see around, and you certainly don't see any going into the wood.
Can we tell if it's shod in the boot or anything like that?
No, but they're obviously boots, so it's you think it's probably the farmer or maybe the farm hands.
Didn't really know that much there.
Now is daytime.
Yeah, it's daytime. You speak of time. thought if you were going to go and check for tracks, you'd need to do that in the light.
We swing by the mill on the way out of town and have a look around there too.
Okay, what are you
I
looking
will
for
try if-
specifically? Sorry. Jose.
Sorry, no. First to the colleague.
So, what are you looking for specifically in the mill?
I was wondering if you could see if there's any more tracks around the mills, if there's any matchup.
The mill is near, but slightly out of town. But it's there's roading around it, so there's a lot of foot traffic that goes backwards and forwards.
Ah, right, okay.
And also, when the fire was blazing, people were kind of milling around trying to put it out. So any tracks that are there have long been sort of
Trampled to death.
trampled to death.
I would like to try to summon a creature which can be lived in the mill, like a rat or a cat or a oil.
Okay,
Owl.
an owl. Yeah. So yeah, you can attempt to summon something from there. It's a successful cast. You cast your spell, sending out a call for one of the local animals. And a short time later, a relatively large and obviously well-fed rat appears from its burrow on the riverbank near the mill, comes up, wanders towards you.
I greet a rat and ask who destroy her the place where she can find so much delicious corn.
So are you able to...
Talk to animals.
So you can control them by concentrating, but you can't actually communicate with them. So it sort of looks at you and you see wide eyes looking unintelligently at you.
She shall show me where the person goes which sent the mill in flames.
Okay, you get a confused sense. She starts wandering around sort of aimlessly, as if she doesn't know, or there wasn't anybody, or they're not there.
I will send the rat in the mill to find the cellar.
Okay, she wanders in, goes down to the cellar. It's one of the few parts that haven't been burned. The external structure is still fairly well intact. Most mills are stone because they do have a habit of burning quite spectacularly when they go. So she's
Shall we
found
take a look?
Okay. It's appears to be fairly safe. Most of the wooden structure has burnt out. Looking up, you can see directly up to the sky above you. The roof's burnt out completely, but the stone walls seem robust, and you think you're fairly safe entering in. With the rat's guidance, you can find the cellar easily. Do you want to go down into the cellar?
Shall we go to the cellar and maybe we can... So, pardon?
Might as well while we're here.
Sure.
You get down into the cellar, and it strikes you immediately. You can see there's charring and sort of blackened marks from the corner quite close to where the stairs go down. And there's a pile of what looks like burnt hides or burnt wool in a sort of charred remains at the base of that scorch mark that goes up the side.
Guess that's where it's going to.
Okay. Do any of you have any vocation sort of skills around farming, or any experience in farming, or perhaps perhaps in weaving?
Nope.
No, sound like peasant skills.
Excellent.
No, I only have leather craft.
Okay. So it seems that is where the fire started. So what would you like to do now?
I will ask Red if she can show me the other way out of the cellar.
The way out, and again you get this sort of confused, and then it's obvious. Oh, and she leads you down, and there's a small hole set in the floor. It's about 2 inches in diameter, and she squeezes down through that.
So he came where he came from, you see?
So, what does anyone else think about the chances of these rumoured bandit attacks being possessed people?
I'm really unsure. I don't know.
We did see them at Knut's farm.
If it starts down here, this means he had to enter the mill.
I just don't know what would you gain from burning a mill.
Yeah, that's what I can't figure out either, unless it was just random. But that seems wrong.
Is there an other mill?
No, there's no. This is the mill in town.
Is there a mill owner?
Yeah, there's a miller.
Can we go and speak to him?
You certainly can. So,
And if we can find him, I'll pose exactly that question. Why would somebody want to burn down your mill?
okay, so you ask around, and you're directed to speak to Thorvald. Thorvald the miller comes out. It's quite gruff. It's a fairly large, heavy-set man. Obviously used to sort of lugging heavy sacks around. It's here you've been asking after me.
You sure have, but I don't think I'd see a fine warrior like you in front of me.
They give me a warrior shit. I work for a living.
Yeah, well, I've seen warriors with less physiques than you, Thorvald. It's just about your mill, really. We're just following up on some of the things that happened around here, and we were just pondering why somebody would target your mill. Why would they burn it?
Nobody burned my mill. I was stupid. Stacked wool before it had a chance to dry out. Bloody stuff caught alight. Sometimes greasy wool does that. Who said that somebody
That
was
wasn't
burning my
awesome.
mill? Who's spreading these rumours?
Well, we're following up on livestock going missing, burning mills. We're trying to tie it all together, but you're saying that you did that? Do you think it through your mistake?
Didn't do it, but yeah, I think I'm probably responsible for it. You're not staying with old Garen, are you? That is indeed the name of the farmer that you were staying with.
We are indeed.
No, don't listen to anything he says. He'll spin your yarn a mile long. He
Okay,
likes
let's get
being
out of here.
the centre of attention.
Thorvald, you're a good man. You've probably spared us more time than we've wasted already. If there was an inn here, I'd buy you a drink, but I'll just have to bring you back a bottle sometime. Good day to you, sir.
Yeah, and to you. If you got a bit of coin, it'll help me with the rebuild.
I give him other coin.
Thank you, kind sir.
One bronze piece.
You.
Yeah, I'll put a bronze piece in his palm as well. Thank you for saving me some time there, Thorvald.
You are very welcome, and hopefully, when you pass through Jägersholt again, I can give you some fresh bread as a token of my thanks.
Vain blessing with you, and give the bread to who needed it instead
Are
of
we
us.
done now? Can we get a move on?
Flavius smiles at Kieran. Yes, Kieran, my friend, I think we are indeed done here.
Oh, thank heavens.
Right.
Almost breath. This has been a waste of time.
So you've spent an hour or so wandering around, investigating farms and hunting around through the mill. So what would you like to do now?
I think we should start our journey. What do you reckon, Kieran? What do you reckon, Gunnar?
I think we should have started an hour and a half ago.
I think we should go to the forest.
Okay. So you travel into the woods. It is dark and surprisingly for both. So you sort of get this sense that you are being watched a lot of the time. You travel throughout the day, and as you can sort of get deeper into the woods, while it's difficult to see the sun clearly, you can certainly tell that hours are passing, and the sun's starting to get a little bit dim, heading towards evening. Does anybody want to have a look around and see if you can find a suitable campsite? We'll say a routine survival check.
Well, I'm not used to living out in the wild, so I don't really have any survival skills. But I'll defer to anybody who can find us a good spot.
I don't do forests. I really don't like this place. It's a bit creepy.
I keep getting a feeling somebody's watching.
How can you manage when you can't see the horizon?
I have survival tundra. How is the modifier for being in the wood?
So what's your survival in?
I choose tundra.
Okay. Normally be routine, but you can make it as a light check instead. Okay, so you find a site that you think is suitable for a campsite. There's a small clearing where you're unlikely to burn any of the trees. And you think that would be a good place to set up.
Okay, put the tents out then.
Yep.
Right.
I'd like to take first watch if possible.
Leaf will take second watch. He's quite happy to do that.
I'd like to take no watches, but I know I'm getting away with that, so I'll take the last one.
So you all settle down. What watch does Gunnar want to be on? We'll say that Gunnar joins for last watch, and Ella will join you, Flavius, for the first watch. So the first watch passes without any disturbance. There are strange noises. You hear various unnatural sounds being in the woods. And just prior to sort of going to bed, when you actually sort of curl up and cover yourself in your bedroll, it'd be around 3 to 4 hours. You can make me a perception check, please. Okay. Andreas, sorry, Gunnar, you rouse. There's something that brings you to the edge of consciousness, but is not enough to wake you. Flavius, you and Ella go and shake Leaf awake and find yourself drifting off to sleep.
So if I'm not awake, I will sleep.
Yep. I'm just checking to see what Leaf does. Okay. You've been asleep for what seems like an instant, but in reality is probably a couple of hours when you find yourselves being gently shaken awake. Leaf is gently waking each of you. There's something up.
Okay, sit up. Start preparing a spell.
Okay.
I will take my battle axe and also start preparing a spell.
Alright, so would you like to put yourselves somewhere around? Alright. Kieran, as you look around, you see what Leaf was sort of drawing your attention to. There's movement in the trees around you. You see movement in the trees off to your northeast.
This is where I wish I had a light spell.
I hope these are squirrels.
On the other hand, I do have night vision.
That's quite useful.
Indeed. And particularly with the light.
I can cast projected light.
Can I cast Slayers
Okay.
if I have more than one round of prep?
Well, we'll see what happens. So, are you casting it with preparation, Gunnar, or are you going to just cast it on the fly?
I will cast with preparation.
Okay, so that'll happen in a couple of rounds' time.
I've still
Yes.
got my prime spell, Cradle trigger, and I'll cast Asleep if any target presents itself.
Okay.
And Chris, just remind me. So if I try to cast this with no rounds, then 1 rounds, what's the problem here?
Okay,
You have
so
to roll a fatigue check.
that's right. So if you cast it with 2 rounds less preparation than you normally would, then you have to make a sheer folly fatigue check. If you cast it with 1 round less, then you make a very hard fatigue check. If you accrue,
Fatigue techs.
sorry, if you get too much fatigue, then you'll start damaging yourself. But it's a general penalty to all actions.
Okay, and is fatigue body development?
Yes. Plus some
And
races get a
sheer
bonus.
folly is what normally minus 50,
Yep,
and the other one's minus 30.
minus 20. If you just click
Okay.
on the modifier, you'll see it pops up on the globe.
I have a map.
Excellent.
Oh, you just beat me. I've got one now. I've got it as well. Andreas?
Still waiting. I would like to take cover under the second card and with the.
I have rolled initiatives for everybody. So Gunnar, you attacked first. Thus far, you weren't able to see anything. You can tell that Leaf and Kieran are trying to track movement off to the kind of northeast of where they are. But you haven't seen anything yet. So what would you like to do this round? Going to prepare? At this point you can't see that one, sorry. So you haven't got a target yet.
So sorry. So I will delay my. Let's see. I will delay my action until something happens in this round,
Okay.
or I can see a target.
Kieran, what would you like to do?
I can see the target.
You can see the general area that they're at, but yeah, you can see that there's things moving around.
But I've already got enough to target a spell.
Not at this point in time.
I guess I'll just pretend to be asleep then.
Okay. Alright, let's see what they can see of you. Okay. From out of the forest, a strange figure appears. He has goat's legs from his waist down, and you can see he has small horns sticking out of his head, but otherwise he appears basically human. He walks towards you unhurriedly, Yes, I would speak with you. Flavius, you're up. What would you like to do?
Have I had more than one round of prep yet? Oh, sorry, have I had
No.
one round of prep yet?
This will be your first round.
Okay, I'll stand up. My, what a striking man you are.
Man? You're an amusing.
Come, join us by the fire, stranger.
What say the rest of you? May I approach?
Who are you? And why you are out in the night?
Ah, this is my land. I am Groy. One of the guardians of the wood. We would normally...
Sit up, sure. Come join us.
Thank you.
Have we offended you in any way, Groy?
No. We will get to that. Please, just give me a moment. You see, he takes a set of pipes out and he plays a short sort of 3-set note. And you see this movement in the rest of the woods around you. You see a number of strange creatures stepping. Okay. So, Kieran, you don't sense anything immediately hostile. He seems to be wanting to talk, but there is some justification, some other thing that he's not told you yet.
Okay.
So, no, you have not done anything to offend, other than what you normal mortals would regularly do. No, I come to speak with you because one amongst you is family. Distant cousin, perhaps, but still there is blood. As family, we feel that you should be alerted to some of the hazards of these lands.
Thank you.
Have they got goat legs?
Yeah, they've got goat legs. They've got goat
I'm going
legs,
to look suspiciously at people's ankles.
and they've got little horns.
And look at bumps on people's heads.
Yes, you know that.
And what are the hazards of these lands then, cousin?
Well, cousin, there is a place not far from where you are. A place that was once not part of the great forest that you find yourself in.
Wulfheim.
I believe that is what you call it. It's an apt name for those who are blessed, some would say, with the form of the wolf, make their home there. Although it is not a natural gift, they are not wolves. They are some strange hybrid, some abomination. I fear they are tainted by powers that you mortals like to dabble with from time to time.
You mean werewolves?
I'm not sure what you would call them. I don't think they are classically werewolves, if I understand your tongue, as I must confess it is not the tongue that I speak most clearly. But a lesser cousin, lesser relation. But unlike, well, and you see he was about to say something, but he cut it off. We felt
Can these wolf beings, can they be slain by mundane weapons?
yes, but their bite contains a dangerous disease for people of your kind. We felt it was only
This does
right.
not sound good.
Well, we thought that we should warn you of the hazards that you may find yourselves facing. Furthermore, we are prepared to offer what little aid we can. It's not our place to interfere with these affairs normally, but since you are blood, we will make a small exception. We cannot help you with the bloody hands of combat. That is not our way. We prefer to let things happen and to live and hide. We are not strong in that way, but we have some knowledge of the lands around here and of the trees and the berries and the living forest. And there are certain herbs that we have gathered that if you wish to pursue this course may be of aid to you.
We would like the aid. We are going to go over there because we haven't. That's our pass. I'd rather not fight them either, but I suspect that won't be an option.
Well, if that is your desire, then as kin, we feel obligated to help you as we can. He gestures to one of the strange green ladies who's sort of stepped forward from one of the trees. She quietly walks over and opens her hands, and in her hands you can see a collection of berries and leaves. These may aid you.
Hold out my hands to take the leaves and say, "You're very kind."
She drops them into your hands without touching them. And Groy says, "You are blood."
Can we offer you the hospitality of our fire for the night?
That would be... We appreciate that. Perhaps you can tell us of your lands. Give us information in return for these gifts. Songs, perhaps?
I'm not much of a singer. How about you, friends?
Groy, you've not introduced us to these lovely ladies.
They are shy and they do not like the fire. And he sort of gestures. They will depart now that they have done their part.
Whoa, that's not so quick, not so quick. Would one of them like to go for a stroll in the woods?
I have some music skills, maybe not comparable to your level of quality, but I guess I can sing quite good for a human.
Oh, share a song with us. And you... I'm sorry, I have a terrible memory for mortal names. You are... Pointing at you, Flavius.
I'm Flavius Big.
Flavius.
One of the ladies.
Flavius,
Can't take you anywhere.
I have one word for you, Flavius, and he looks sort of a wicked grin comes across his face. Splinters.
Flavius roars his head. I like you, Groy. I like you a lot.
So, please, leave the lovely dryads alone. Sit. Enjoy our company. They will disappear.
Will do.
So the dryads walk back into the forest, and you see them. They just sort of merge with some of the trees and disappear. Now, tell us more of the outside world. Okay. As you start discussing and talking, and as Gwyneth starts to sing, you hear a rustling behind you, and it sounds like something's becoming impatient.
Is it one of the dryads?
No, it's not one of the dryads. Do you turn to look?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. As you turn to look, you see in the boughs of one of the trees near you, and there's a small, multi-hued dragon that's looking at you, sort of craning its neck as if it's stretching to hear what you're saying. At the same time, it's kind of bouncing from side to side, almost in anticipation and boredom.
Friend of yours?
Ah, yes. Bella, come join us. They are friends. This dragon flies down. It's small. It's about the size of a cat. As it flies over, it does a barrel roll, showing off its acrobatic abilities, and it sits there. So. Tell us more. Come on. What goes on outside? Oh, tell me some stories and songs. Sing. You said you could sing. Sing for me.
Flavius will try and tell the story using his acting skill, his oratory skill, and his charm skills. A vastly inflated story of Maximus Severus, one of the best gladiators to ever grace the Trisian fighting pits of whatever city he's from. I can't remember. We haven't actually decided that. Embellish it, and some of it's obviously over embellished, but try and tell the biggest, wildest story he can of some of it based on some of the truth that he's seen, but a lot of it made up.
Wow. You think I could fight in those pits? I'd beat this gladiator you're talking about. It would be simple, and then I could get all the glory. I could be the most glorious, valorous gladiator the Empire had seen. I could be victorious. You gonna take me there?
I don't know. It depends if you're a girl or not.
No. Why would that matter?
He likes girls.
Alas, I could not take you there, friend. My time in that city is over. I'm afraid I've moved here for the better company and the better chances of a long and hopefully prosperous life.
But the fighting pits, they sound so exciting.
I don't know. I think a city full of werewolves sounds pretty exciting too.
Ah. Boring stuff. That's around all the time.
You been there? Much?
I, of course, this is my domain. I have been everywhere, but not recently. You get the impression that Baylor is he's something of. He's very much like Flavius. He likes to over-exaggerate things, puff up his own importance.
Sounds like a perfectly likable chap.
I don't suppose you happen to know what the 9 rings are, do you?
9 rings?
Yeah,
Are they
something to do with the city?
metal?
Or the castle? The ruins? Sorry?
No, it's something to do with the city. Well, I vaguely remember hearing a story. It's not to do with the city, but 9 rings. They were something to do with the plains. I'm sorry. You mortal folk don't normally talk about the plains. We live on one plane of existence. It is what you would call the Earth. And if you imagine, if you walk in one direction and then you turn to your left or right, you can walk in another direction. And then if you can turn up or down, you can head in another direction. Well, if you were to take those changes in direction, but step into the next direction, then you would be able to walk from one plane of existence to the other. Do you understand how that works?
Not really, no.
So difficult talking with you sometimes. It's a simple concept, but there's layers. The planes, they are here, but they are not here. And one can step from one plane of existence to another plane of existence. The 9 rings, that's tied to one of the nasty planes.
Where demons come from.
Yes, that's the one. Maybe you have heard of the plane of existence. Perhaps you're not quite as ignorant as I first thought.
Thanks.
It's probably your heritage. I wouldn't expect the others. He looks around the rest of the assault group. They wouldn't understand.
You're obviously a mighty dragon. Have you ever heard of a dragon's ghost, a Vexileranos?
Yes, that was a terrible thing. We don't like to talk about it. It was obviously some divine intervention that allowed him to be slain. Not that he didn't deserve it.
What did he do?
Well, he was some of my brethren. They're not friendly. They hold themselves as is right above lesser beings, but myself and others of my brethren who are so inclined, we are magnanimous. We understand your frailties. Unfortunately, Vexileranos was one of the other kind.
Not quite so generous?
No, he liked eating your kind, if I remember rightly. And so, I believe your mortal plaintive cries to your gods inspired them to intervene, and they killed them. Nothing to do with the heroes. They were merely the gods' instruments. No mortal being could kill a dragon after all. But as I said, it's an unpleasant thing that had happened in the past, and we don't like to talk about it very much.
The
Okay.
god kill the dragon? But
Yes, of course.
why he still is a ghost?
Well, you know, it was only a mortal god, right? And there's limits to their powers. He was a dragon after all. He's still very unhappy. Not somewhere I would go if I were him. But then again, I hear you're going to Wulfheim and wouldn't go there either. Especially not for someone as frail as you. No one is offensive, Tinto.
Oh, we can't all be magnificent, wonderful dragons, can we?
Well, no, of course you can't. You can see him preening. And I do understand your limitation. I do feel so sorry for you at times.
No, I've decided not to make this guy my familiar after all.
So, tell me more stories. And you spend the rest of the evening. He will attempt to get as much information and as many stories out of you as possible before grudgingly allowing you to rest if you want to. Now, does anybody have any herbalism type skills?
Yes, I.
Okay, can you make me an easy check of herbalism to identify the berries and the leaves you have been given? Okay, these are not herbs that you are familiar with. They've obviously come from deep in the forest and they're not something that you've seen before.
I think I will later take a look. If I remember more or better.
Eventually you are allowed to return to your rest and you pass the rest of the night without any further interruption. Following morning you wake somewhat tired but surprisingly well rested. And you continue on.
Yeah, once we're packed up, I'm ready to go.
I have to view his relatives.
Flavius is in a pretty good mood. He's got to show off last night.
I will ask Flavius if the girls in the Empire are so ugly that he decided to go to the Southland.
No, my dear friend Gunnar. The only problem is I bedded them all, so I had to come south.
Why? You want to
Taste
get
like you jealous
some...
husbands.
Really? Did you really?
There's a saying where I come from, variety is the spice of life.
So come here to taste some homemade food?
Yes, to taste the local delicacies.
Okay, so you spend a few hours traveling through, and the woods become progressively thicker, and you're quite grateful that you didn't bring a cart. There's no way that you would have managed to navigate your way through these woods. A little after lunchtime, you find yourself approaching